Hello everyone and welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's time for another episode of Transfer Weekly, the show where we discuss all the deals and rumours that Celtic have been linked with in the past 7 days. I'm going to change it up a bit this week, so let's take a look at what's coming up. We're going to start off with a couple new features, transfer shootout and who am I, and then we'll move on to wider discussion about Celtic's current transfer policy. We'll touch on Yaya Toure and talk about the expectations for the next 7 days of the window. So let's jump right to it then. Transfer shootout, 5 quick fire questions I'm going to ask Ryan here, and then we'll get straight on with the rest of the content. Ever.
In Arsenal. There's a few. Amido Baldi. Van Dijk. Van Dijk. Unknown foreign player.
Right, now it's time for the Who Am I, and then we'll move on to the actual discussion this week. So here it comes. I'm a versatile midfielder. I signed for Celtic in 1998. I only scored 5 goals for the club, but 1 came in a League Cup final. Who am I? So we'll post the answer to this in the comments below after the video's been up for a few hours. Feel free to Google it, but if you Google it, then it just means your Celtic knowledge is rubbish. So let's get straight to the discussion then.
Let's dive in.
Back to this month's January transfer window.
Is it still open?
It is, aye. We've not done much for a while. But do you think, I've talked to some supporters this week, seen the comments on the content on Twitter as well. I feel like there's a growing sense of unease about the transfer policy just now. I think that obviously Lee Congerton is somebody who's come in for a lot of criticism, but do you think it's fair, the sort of growing sense of discomfort that some fans have got with the transfer policy now?
Aye. And I say yes because we've done not bad at the start of this transfer window, i.e. we got in cover for striking, we got in Oliver Burke, albeit his favoured side's right, and probably don't need a great deal of cover on the right hand side. But look at how we made an absolute shambles of the summer transfer window, which is where you can do the most business, the most productive business throughout the football season. The summer transfer window is where you bring in players at value, you add value to the squad, and you make your intent known for the season ahead. We fucked that one up royally. Last January, when you look at hindsight now and you look at who we brought in, we were talking just in the quickfire questions there, a known Scottish player or an unknown foreign player. We brought in a known Scottish player, we brought in somebody who you think might do a job for you and then they don't do a job for you. I just think it is broken. Like, whatever it is broken. The 6-month loan deals that we've just brought in shows no intent to develop the squad. It just shows intent to try and scrape through this season because we've not done overly well in the first half of the season. I just think something's broken and something needs fixed.
Yeah, do you think, take for example, this week we've been linked, Porto have been linked to Olivier Cham.
Aye.
Coming back in, there's talk of a £14 million bid, plus Chancel Mbemba, who's a centre-half, good centre-half, obviously played at a high level, being at Newcastle in the Premier League as well. So when you think about Celtic's transfer structure, the way they go about things, you think that's a good fee for Ncham.
Aye.
It works with the model that we sign a player, he was 4.5 million, sell him on for a profit. It's a bit earlier and I think we plan to do that.
Yeah.
There's not been too much on it, it was just
more rumours again.
More rumours.
Aye.
But would you take that? But would you take it because it's good money? We've seen that we got good money for Dembele, but
yeah, the
good money goes in to the balance sheet, it doesn't get reinvested. So this is where I think it's almost like a lose-lose.
Aye.
We sell the good player, we make the profit, but we don't necessarily reinvest the money.
That level of money, like if we come back to it, right, and we think about how Celtic are structured as a club and how frugally they're run and how tight things are run, it's that level of money will never be reinvested back in the squad, 16, 20 odd million, never. And it'll be justified at some level with the board as how it wouldn't make sense to spend that sort of money to compete in Scotland. The European football's changed. We can't probably compete at the level that we should be to get back to where we were back 2003. So there will be justification for it somewhere. But touching on the Ncham thing, I don't think he's been that great of late. I don't think that it'd be a massive loss to the club, and I think if you can make a profit on him as it stands just now, I would take it all day long. Do I think that the board will reinvest it like I've just touched on there? I don't even think they'll go close to reinvesting half it.
But do you think, obviously he's young, Olivier Ncham, he's still developing, 22, there's more to come from him. There's definitely more to come from him, and we've seen in flashes, well not flashes, that's unfair, he's played on a number of occasions really, really well. So you can see that there's a player in there, and I don't think clubs like Porto looking to spend that sort of money on somebody who there's not a lot of potential in.
No.
Their transfer policy has made them a fair old whack in the past decade or so as well. So I think one criticism that's levelled at Celtic a lot is because we sell players on for a profit, we don't keep them in their prime.
Aye.
So would you like to see us keep somebody like Ncham? Or I know you said there right now with the way he's been playing that's a good deal. I think if we get Chancellor and Bemba along with it, it's a great deal.
Aye.
But do you think that's something that we don't do enough? Try and hold on to players into the peak of their career?
Well, I think that's...
Do you think we can't do it because...
I think we massively struggle with it because of the money that's out there, and we're not willing to massively go out with the comfort zone of the way the club's been run over the last 10 to 15 years. We're not going to push the wage structure, we're not going to overly push the transfer budgets and how much we're willing to spend on any position. There will be a kind of number in the mind and they won't go past it. I think realistically, we've spoke about it at length, that if we have any intentions to become better in Europe and do better on the continent, that we have to bring in players who are in the peak of their career. So very closely aligned with, will we keep players into the peak of their career? Can we? Dembele left because he'd done everything that he can do at Celtic. It was far more attractive in terms of the salary that was on offer, and he pushed his way out the door. That is probably something that will become a recurring theme if we keep bringing players of Dembele's stature in, because we can't hold somebody back in their career. You wouldn't want to, because you don't want to have somebody here who doesn't want to be here. Part of me thinks maybe there's a wee bit in Ncham who feels a bit like that because of the close link with Dembele, and I feel like maybe he's a bit disinterested this season, like he just can't really be arsed, and that's my personal thought on it. I just think that Celtic probably aren't willing to become a club who will keep players into the peak of their career in the modern game.
Yeah, look, I think with Dembele, you can't keep him because he's clearly going to play at a level that's far above Celtic, far above what Celtic can offer him. He's played in the Champions League. He's won all the trophies he can win here, and it was time to go. The manner he done it in, obviously wasn't nice.
Disappointing.
But and you see when he's made that step to Lyon, it's not all plain sailing. He spent a lot of time on the bench so far. I know it's early days, but the grass isn't always greener, and we don't always see players leave Celtic and go into massively better things, like discounting your Van Dijks and the likes. But anyway, moving on, we're going to bring back up the January checklist. So this is just, I want to touch on some of the other deals we've been linked with this week, just in terms of talking about the transfer policy and actually what it is we're trying to do, because we've got the two strikers in, we've got the winger, there's not been too much more movement on the right back situation. Nothing really about a centre half either. We know they had Scott McKenna rumour that we've already discussed last week, but But we were linked with Scott McTominay on loan for Manchester United this week. I mean, I don't know how much there is to that. Brendan Rodgers was asked about it and he said, I'm not going to comment because I'm commenting on other clubs' players. But, I mean, why? Why would we be in for Scott McTominay on loan?
It's so broken. Like, it is so broken. We're scraping barrels for anything and everything that looks like a signing. If they can get somebody's name added to the payroll on a loan deal and make it look like, well, we tried, we brought people in, we brought players in, you're screaming out for a better transfer window. This was a better transfer window in terms of number brought in. We answered the positions that we were looking at in terms of we brought in a couple of strikers. Did we really need another winger? There's probably a couple of young boys there that can step into the role quite capably, so we probably didn't. That was another signing that, well, let's bring him in, we could do him, we might use him. It's 6 months, he's got a bit of experience, maybe a bit more than what we've got there, but it was, I think again, Oliver Burke was more of it's another name in the transfer window, and I think that just looking at the way that we've gone about everything, it's just more now to appease rather than to add value.
Yeah, I think, look, we don't want to be too doom and gloom, but I think this is the problem. This is the problem that we can see. There's not any theme. The theme is loan deals.
Aye.
The theme is short-term loan deals.
Yep.
There doesn't seem to be any structure or real strategy behind it, and that's something that I just feel like we're lacking. I feel like we obviously need to strengthen in defence this month. That's something we forgot about. The 2 American boys last week who have all but signed. The club have just not confirmed it. We've seen Manny, Perez at right back. He's been in a trial. Andrew Gutman, it looks like he's going to join us. He's been previously was in trial at Rangers. It looks like he's going to come to Celtic now. But even those type of signings, I mean, how did we forget about the American college footballers?
I know. What fucking chance have you got?
But and that just leaves you thinking: is this? Or do we expect American college footballers to come in and make an impact in this squad and make the leap? We've talked about the leap of playing full-time professional football at other clubs in Scotland.
Aye. To
come to Celtic.
Yep. Miles short of where they should be.
We're going to bring these 2 boys from American college football, which is look, every player, the day that he comes in, is there in his own merit, and he's got a chance to prove his worth and get his place in the team. And by all means, what I've seen of that, certainly Gutman, he looks like a good player. But it's that leap. Are we expecting these guys to come from college football in America and make an impact at Celtic?
I don't even think that whoever's signing the dotted line to bring the boy in and pay the money or whatever we have to do to bring the boy in has got any intentions of making an immediate impact. It's all that stuff where we bring him in, we hope that we can develop him and build him into a player and make money off him in the future. I think it's more of that stuff. It's more of the same that we've been used to and become accustomed to. I think that just the way that the transfer policy is, I'd love none more than to end up with egg in my face here, by the way, when I was laughing there about boys coming in from American college football. I think that if these boys can come in and really make a statement and do something that we've not seen done in recent history, then that would be fantastic. But I don't think that the transfer policy is good at all. I think that big changes have to be made. Do we need someone else at the forefront of leading that? Do we need a better scouting system? What do we need? It's just broken and we're not going to fix it with these boys.
In terms of recruitment, Lee Congerton is the guy whose head's on the block that everybody wants to see go. When you're ahead of the recruitment, there's got to be a lot of responsibility that lies at your door. So you would think that if the club want to change and improve the way they go about their transfer business, then they'd be looking at a change in terms of the head of recruitment.
They need to, like, we're all in business, right? We all kind of have worked for companies, and if you're not doing your job, you're out. Like, it's that simple. There's no, even, like, he's not been here for long enough to have any sentimentality, so just, if he's not doing a job, boot him out the door. bring somebody in who's capable, and let's start making some impact on how Celtic are going to look moving forwards. Let's stop signing people for 6-month loan deals to win the 8th title in a row against Rangers, who were massively well behind us last season. We shouldn't even be sitting having these conversations about 6-month loan signings, and we're still loan. Let's fix it. Let's get rid of the person or the responsible party, and let's bring in somebody who can change it. That's the end of it.
Absolutely, aye. So let's get to the positive again. Obviously, we've done half of the deals that we wanted the club to do.
Aye.
Whether it be loan deals or permanently. We've got the 2 strikers in, we've got the winger in. So what more do we need to do to be satisfied with this month's business?
We need a right back. We probably need a centre half. Would you be losing your mind if we didn't bring in a centre half? As long as Boyata doesn't sneak out the door at the last minute, then no. That's still a possibility. That's a very real possibility. But for this to be a productive transfer window, we need to guarantee a right back who can go right into the team, 25, 26, 27-year-old, who's played and can come in there and do a job day one.
Absolutely. So we'll move on to Yaya Toure then. We've seen him this week linked with Celtic, and then he was on Sky Sports Monday Night Football. I don't know if you've seen that clip.
I didn't see it, no.
He was asked a Twitter question about, are you coming to Celtic? And he kind of light-heartedly made a joke about it, but he was like, maybe I'll talk to Colo. He didn't exactly dampen it.
Aye.
But that's just one I don't see any legs in at all. I don't think, number one, it's not what we need. Number two, I don't think he's the best teammate in the world. I don't think he's had run-ins with a few managers. I think he'd maybe upset the apple cart a wee bit too much. I don't expect there to be anything in that. If it was up to you, would you bring Yaya Toure in?
Let's be honest, right? See, for his ability on the park, short term, we've brought worse players in. Do we need them? No, we don't need them. Would I prefer us to bring in a right back and a centre half? Yes. Do I think that it would create a bit of excitement about some of the fans in the club? 100%, because he's a big name. He's done exceptional things in his career, and like I said, the ability is unquestionable. So, would I? I probably would.
Well, I wouldn't.
I probably would.
I wouldn't pay him the wages that he'll demand. As I say, I don't think he would fit. I don't think it's what we need. I would.
I would.
There's a lot of things that I didn't like Celtic to do, and
you did them all anyway.
So that is it for this week. You know what to do. Like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. You can leave a comment below with your own thoughts. If you don't like the video, I've no doubt you'll leave a snide comment. But to the 99% of you that are positive and supportive, we love you, and we'll see you next time.
Hail, hail.